much, Ahmed Fatou, for always joining us and sharing your insight all the way from Ramallah. Now we move on to our next news. In Tel Aviv, U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff has met with families of Israeli hostages held in Gaza. The emotional meeting took place at a protest square nearly 22 months after the Hamas attacks. Witkoff offered reassurance. He said that the plan is not to expand the war, but to end it. Families applauded his arrival, but pleaded for urgent U.S. action. Many have erected a barbed wire protest camp to highlight the hostages' harsh conditions. One family released a still image from a Hamas video showing their loved one pale and emaciated. The push for a resolution is growing louder and more desperate. Now we're joined by Matti Zweig. He's a geopolitical expert, joins us live from Israel. Thank you, Matti, for joining us again. Good to see you. Now, with families expressing increasing desperation for an action, including the display of a barbed wire protest camp, how do you think public pressure within Israel is evolving? How do you see it? Do you notice a change from earlier?
Well, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff has met today with all the families of Israeli hostages, as you said, in the hostage square. It was not a hostage square, of course. Now it is for more than 1.5 years. And this is a desperate place because from one side, they understand the military pressure that they put on Hamas to release the hostages. From the other side, there has no been released, most of them. They were released in agreements. Only a minority has been released militarily. Everybody understands that. The question is that in all the rounds of intending to do some agreements in Qatar or in other countries, Hamas has said no, and they want to have this card for not to be dismantled as the last means of staying in power in some way. They want a complete deployment, a redeployment of IDF or going back to Israel, things that they are not going to happen, not because Israel wants to stay with Gaza. I mean, I'm not talking about some extreme ministers that have said this or that. In the facts, in the ground, Israel is not taking any means to take Gaza back. They are going, they want also to redeploy for trying not to repeat the 7th of October. I think most of the people in the world don't understand. For Israel, there is a before and an after. Before 7th of October 23 and after. After that, we say, you can put who you want there. We don't care about the names, but we cannot hold any kind of hope that in any future, let's say the next 100 years, would be someone or something or a movement that is even close to Hamas behavior. And this is what is avoiding from finishing everything, because if they would release the hostages and they would deploy their weapons, everything will be finished, I don't know, in 5 minutes, but in 10 minutes, okay? So this is what is going on. The meeting between Witkoff and the families have been very painful, because today most of the families don't believe also in the real efforts of finishing something. They understand what is going on. From one side, part of the Israeli government wants to continue this war because they put themselves a goal of finishing completely the Hamas as a military movement, if they cannot do it as an ideological movement. And from the Hamas side, as I said in the beginning, they are not trying to finish in this, release the hostages and being themselves dismantled or having to go away from Gaza to other country, as it was in the 80s with the PLO that they left Lebanon to Tunisia, for instance. And this is what is happening now. It's very sad. The families of the hostages have been very harsh, also with Witkoff and also with the Israeli government, because they really don't know who to believe anymore. This is the truth.
And building on that answer, how do you assess the role of the U.S. in these negotiations? What more can U.S. still do to expedite a resolution here?
I mean, I said in other interviews, I mean, it's very hard to put pressure only to one side. If the world is putting pressure on Israel because it's the normal state with normal ethics and with normal way of behaving, and then all the pressure goes to Israel, don't this, don't do that, release everything, redeploy, give them what they want. I mean, this is not going to lead to any solution. And then Israel today has, and I think most of the Israelis believe, or total peace or total security. There is not something in between.
Yes.
And so until the world would not understand that they have to put the same quite amount of pressure that they put on Israel also on Hamas, maybe through Qatar, that is having a very strange mediation way of doing things, that they never put pressure on, real pressure, I mean,
Yes.
on Hamas. Things are going to continue as they are now, and
Yes.
we will see more bloodshed
Yes.
and more problems. And this is something I think that nobody wants, at
Yes.
least from the point of view of the people.